All right. And I know in recent, the recent years, maybe there wasn't much negotiating when you're buying a car. It was kind of like, here's the price, take it or leave it. But in a normal time, maybe we can frame this as a car salesman. They know what they can sell a car for, but they don't ever start there. So I kind of want to have a two-prong approach here. We'll start with how to negotiate a car in normal times, assuming it's not just take it or leave it. And then if you will share, I want to know how a car salesman is actually paid, like what incentivizes them and why are they willing to move on price, and do they really care at the end of the day what it sells for as long as they hit a certain number?
Oh, that's a good one. So, incentives, it's everything, right? And I'll start by just saying that on the salesman side, it's good for people to know that more likely than not, this is not perfect, but more likely than not, if you're shopping at a used car store, that salesperson is incentivized per unit on a flat and maybe some commission added or bonus, but primarily they're incentivized to push the unit, sell the car, right? Even if it means getting a discount, they're still getting that commission check. In a new car store, more likely than not, they're mostly incentivized on commission. And so they want to, maximize the gross profit on that car. And maybe they also have a unit bonus attached to that. And then in corporate stores, they have some chunk of, in corporate stores, you can assume like, again, I don't want to name specifics because I don't know the pay plans of, call it Drive Time or Sonic Echo Park or Car Lots. But many of the corporate stores have salaries plus a group bonus attached to it, right? So you know that if you're going to a corporate store, there's a high likelihood that they are just paid a salary and they just have some volume bonus attached to it at the end of the month. So, anyways, to prime us, that's kind of the three types of salespeople, right? The used car salesperson that's paid a flat, the new car salesperson that's paid commission, and the corporate salesperson that's paid salary plus, maybe some bonus. Okay. Now, remember, if you start with a used car store, right, this salesperson wants to push out the car, they want to sell a unit, right? They may, depending on the salesperson, their integrity, and depending on management, they may work the manager for your benefit, right? So I want to push the sale, whereas my manager, who's clearly making some commission percentage, wants to maximize gross profit. So me as the salesperson, I may work my manager in an edgy situation to discount the car or something just to get you the deal. So there, our incentives are aligned where I'm trying to sell the unit and I don't care about gross profit or to a certain extent, right? In a new car store, again, it's different because I am paid on commission. More likely than not, I'm going to try to, I'm going to be more aligned with my manager and try to maximize the profit there, right? So to prime us there, it is really important to know, our incentives align or not, because depending on the type of structure or the company, there's simply going to be you're going to be working with a different type of dynamic with that salesperson. So that's that. Let me flip over to how to actually get the best deal at a store. Right? It's really not complicated. I think it means going back to the basics. And I put out a playbook on this on cardealershipguide.org where I called it how to get a great deal at a car dealership without getting lucky. So, I ripped off Naval, how to get rich without getting lucky type of theme. But this really took off. I mean, this has really gone all over the internet. It's the number one viewed a page on the cardealershipguide.org. And it basically takes you through four major steps, right? And I'll start at a high level, which the four steps are just number one, you have to start online. Research the car you want. Don't go into the dealership and assume that you're going to know what needs to be done or what you want. That's a mistake. So number one, start online. Number two, you got to get smart. And so there's a ton of online tools, which I'll talk about, which you can leverage in order to get smart and to come in armed with as much knowledge as possible. Right. Number three, you build up your negotiating leverage. And I'll talk about this and how you can get creative when you do this. And number four, you make the offer. And so this is the fun part. And there's certain ways to make the offer in order to be as successful as possible. So Chris, I'm happy to jump in and I can give you an overview on each step. And if people would like, they can, of course, go to the resource and they can go into all the further details as well. So like I mentioned, the first step is you want to start online. You want to research the car you want, right? So you really want to leverage a lot of the third party listing sites, the vehicle price aggregation websites. So Car Gurus, TrueCar, Edmunds. I mean, all these, these will all give you a great pulse on the market and also will help you find what do I really want. Now, the good part about this is that dealers are no different than, the high school boy or girl at the team dance. They have FOMO big time. And what that means is that dealers want to be on every listing site because they're scared that if they're not going to sell the car. And so this will give you a very good pulse of the market on what's available, what are rough price ranges and whatnot, right? And so it's really important, and this gets in this research stage that you also take in consideration your trade-in. Your trade-in is a big moneymaker for dealers. We want your trade. We don't need to pay an auction or a fleet some fee in order to get another car that we can potentially sell. And so your trade-in is very important. You need to research that as well. And again, start by researching the market. Go on websites, some online retailer. There's plenty of websites such as CarMax or various others where you can get a real offer online of how much they'll buy your car for. So start doing your homework and understanding what's your trade-in worth and what car do you really want. That's the first step in the process to getting the best deal. So that was the research, and I kind of commingled that with the second step, which is get smart. But I'll just elaborate a little bit more on the get smart stage, which is that you don't want to discount anecdotal insight as well, right? Calling your local friend who's a car dealer, leveraging book values as well. So we spoke about market pricing, Car Gurus. We spoke about national market pricing. Such as CarMax or Carvana. Well, you also want to look at retail book values, which really just means Kelley Blue Book, right? So Kelley Blue Book is typically lags the market, and so it's not the most accurate, but it is still another good data point for you to consider, along with just anecdotes from a local car dealer if you happen to know someone, or tweeting at me, Car Dealership Guy, on Twitter. And so when you combine all these data points, now you have a sense of what that car is worth. Again, compare this to the real estate industry, right? You look at comps. What did Joe Schmo pay for that for that house down the street? Whatever it may be, you start to build some. And again, I'm talking about residential real estate. Obviously, not what you do. You guys are in a whole different field, but you start to build an idea of what it's worth. So, step number 3 here is you need to build up your negotiating leverage, and this is very, very important because if you know how to navigate through the dealership from a leverage perspective, here's where you can really get the difference of getting a good deal or a bad deal, right? So there's several different points here to keep in mind, but I'll kind of go one by one. Number one, product quality. Does the car have a blemish on the Carfax, right? This will simply mean that the dealer may want to sell the car faster and not hold on to it. Does the dealer carry multiple types of this car? Redundancy, right? Dealers don't need to carry, too many of one car. And if you just look at it proportional to their inventory, or do they have 10 of one car, which they would like to move? The third one I call double dip. Do you have a sweet trade-in that the dealer can retail, right? They're going to be more inclined to give you a better deal so that they can also retail your trade. The fourth one is speed. Can you make the purchase in the next 24 hours? Dealers want to move metal. They're going to want to sell that car. Fifth one is relationship. Do you know someone that works in management? And I say management because, if it's below management, it probably won't help you from a negotiating perspective. But, if you do know someone in management, yeah, they may help you out a bit when you're trying to buy that car. Or they may not, in which case it doesn't help. Number 6 is spiff, which really just means, is it the end of the month? Is it the end of the quarter? Franchise dealers will typically get spiffs from the OEMs. Again, like a kickback or call it a rebate, whatever you want to call it, but they'll typically get something from the OEM for hitting volume targets. And so they're going to want to move that car, especially at the end of the month or the end of the quarter. And the last part here, and I always love to talk about this, is BATNA, right? Best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It's the fancy MBA term, which I don't have an MBA, but I've learned this through business. But basically, is there another car in the local market that is similarly priced and comparable to the one you're looking at, right? If there is, great. Leverage that because you'll probably be able to get a good deal because the dealer knows if you're leaving, you're going to buy that car. In 2021, that was a bit tough. And it's also not going to work if you're looking at a very unique Supra or some car that's rare, and there's just not going to be a lot like it in your local market. But if you're buying a Nissan Altima, if you're buying a Toyota Camry, there's going to be a lot of them in the market. Find a very similar car that's comparable. Ideally find it at someone who's a big competitor to the dealer that you're with. So you add some more spice to the negotiation and they really get pissed off because they don't want to give that business to their number one competitor, and leverage that. Because at that point, the dealer is not going to want to lose your business, especially for a car that they can replace. After you've done all of this, you're finally ready to make the offer, Chris, and this is the last part. And so I always say, like, the cardinal rule, if you want to get the best deal, is make an all-in offer. Don't come in and start going piecemeal, because they'll end up getting you on add-ons, on fees, on anything, right? You need to come in with an all-in offer that's, somewhat below what the dealer is asking. And again, every car is different, depending on the add-ons you're getting. There isn't like a perfect percentage, but maybe come in 5% lower, 10% lower, give an all-in offer that's a bit lower, and let the dealer really fight to get your deal done. Because when you give an all-in offer, you're doing two things. Number one is you're creating a forcing function for the dealer. Now they have to figure out how to discount your deal, whether they do that by reducing some fee or the margin on the warranty or the car. Who knows what they do? But that's their job. Let them figure it out. Number two, optics are real in a dealership setting. There's optics, there's politics. And so, you just don't know how the GM or the sales manager, how they're incentivized. And maybe they prefer to reduce some fee, or, maybe they prefer to reduce the price of the car as opposed to the margin. On the added products, whatever it may be. So by giving an all-in offer, you're really creating a forcing function where you're allowing the dealer to, set up their path to success with the deal and ultimately get you the best deal. And if you follow this playbook, you're going to get a great deal.